Masechta Bava basra daf kufav amud aleph. We're starting from the Mishnah on the top of kufav amud aleph. The Mishnah says, one who says to his friend, "Base kufa, a base kura off ani meichalav. I'm selling you a base kura which is 30 saw, or in kavim it's 180 kavim, because there's 6 kavim to a saw, and 30 times 6 is 180. So he's here. We're not talking about like before when he says pachas hayoso or he says dafke b'mida. There, the dinim is if he came with an exact measure, then anything less, the halacha would be anything less. The halacha would be that you deduct from the price if he gave him less, or if he said pachas hayoso, we say up to a reva kav per saw, a person is meichel, or 7.5 kavim for a kur. Here we're going to talk about at a bigger share. Here what happened was they were both standing there, and he tells him, "I'm selling you a base kur, with the landmarks and with the boundaries." So here the din is going to be differently. After he came home and he sees it's not the share of a base kur. Pas mishtus, if it's less than a shtus, we say that it belongs to the lakeich the way it is. Because the lakeich stood there and it's Sava V'Kibul. He was there, he was shown, and he saw exactly what the kake is. So we say up to shtus, he's agreeing that the sale should be a sale. At shtus, until a shtus, yenake. Then that means if it's more than a shtus, and up to shtus, the din is that you deduct, because if that's not an amount that he agreed to. We say he can make a mistake up to less than a shtus. But a shtus and more, or the Gemara will talk about shtus itself, but more than the shtus, up to a shtus, the halacha would be that he could deduct from the price. Here we're not talking about the shtus that of Einoah, because by kaka, Einoah by kaka, the Rashbam says. There's no such a thing as Einoah by kaka, cheating by kaka, because kaka, no two kakas are the same. It goes according to location, and one karka is always in a better location than the other karka. So therefore, there's no such a thing as a charging more than a shtus. Shtus is only by metaltalin, not by karka. Here, even though the number comes out like the shtus of Eina, but it's not mitzad Eina, it's mitzad, that's the number that they gave, that if it's going to be more than a shtus, then he could start deducting from the price, because it's not what he thought it out to be. It's too much of a loss for him. Zog the Gemara, Itma, we learned, Avhuna says, shtus, how about if it was shtus alone? So that it was less, exactly a shtus. Says the Gemara, kipachs mishtus. According to Avhuna, has a din like pachs mishtus, and higia, meaning that it's shaykh to the lekeich, the way it is, and there's no deduction. Now Yehuda Amar shtus ki yes mishtus. That shtus is like more than a shtus, and the din is that he could deduct. The shtus has a din like he cheated him out, not cheated him out, but he gave him he gave him more than a shtus less. A shtus has the din like more than a shtus, and he could deduct. So the Gemara Ravhuna said shtus kipas mishtus. Ravhuna said that shtus has a din like less than a shtus, and this sale is a sale, and he cannot deduct anything. So how does he learn the Mishnah? Hachikara. This is how he learns in the Mishnah. It says the words in the Mishnah, Pas Mishtus, but you have to say Shtus Bechlal, and Shtus is also included in the Pas Mishtus. Higiyai, and the Lekeach is masking to the sale, even though it was a Shtus less. But if it was Yois Mishtus, says the Mishnah Vaita, more than a Shtus, Yinake, then the Meicha has to deduct from the price that he charged him for the base kur, if it was more than the shtus less than a base kur. Rav Yehuda Amar shtus ki yes mishtus. Rav Yehuda says shtus has a din like more than a shtus, and the shtus itself, the din would be if it was a shtus less than a base kur, the Meicha would have to deduct from the price. And hachikama, this is how you have to learn the Mishnah. It says in the Mishnah pas mishtus, if it was less than a shtus, then higiyah. Then the lekeich is agreeing to and understood that even if it's a pas mishtus less than the base core, the sale is a sale. Ad shtus ushtus bechlal. But what if it was more than a shtus, up to a shtus, and including a shtus, then Yenaka, then the Beich has to deduct from the price of that he charged for the base court, because it was a shtus less than the base court. And when the Mishnah says ad shtus, it means more than a shtus, still a shtus, and in shtus included. Meisvei, the Gemara is going to ask Rav Huna, who says that shtus itself has a din like pas mishtus. Beisimana, we learned in the Braisa that the person said he's selling him a shetach of a karka with the simanim, with the landmarks of Ibn Tzarav, and with the boundaries. Pichesh shtus, if it was less than a shtus, or he sold them less than a shtus or more than a shtus, who kishum hadayonim. It has a din like shum hadayonim. Shum hadayonim is that the dayanim evaluate a karka of yisayim who need the money for the almana, for the mother who's almana, and for the sisters. So they have to evaluate in order to sell the karka, and they made a mistake in shatzing up and evaluating the karka. So he said, if they made a mistake in Pichs Mishus Hais Mishtus, so then the whole thing, it has to be is void. It's a the whole the shatzung has to be redone. And the din is, the Sefer says that that if the came to Lekech keeps the sub the way it was. Meaning that the din of selling karka has a din like Shuma Dayanim. In fact, Shuma Dayanim, we know by when it comes to Dayanim making a mistake in the evaluation, the shtus of a shtus is ki yes shtusu. It has a din like more than a shtus. And Rav Huna says that, and we said that selling karka has a din like Shuma Dayanim. But according to Rav Huna, selling karka, if it was a shtus, it has a din like pas mishtus, and the sale's a good sale, and the lekeh cannot demand for anything. And according to this brayse, it comes out it has a din like kishum yanim, that the whole mekach is bottled because it has a din like yes mishtus. And the Gemara, Rav Huna says, look, all the time, according to your wording, you Rav Yehuda, that a shtus has a din like more than a shtus. Is the Braisa itself understood? In the end of the Braisa it says Higia Katani. The Braisa says that even though the Meicha sold the base kur with a shtus less, or with a shtus, or more than a shtus less, the karka is sold to the Lekech the way it is. So you see, it's machal. Says Gemara, no, rather kishum hadayanim. I'm sorry, Elahu Kishum Hadayonim. Rather, it's like it has a din like the Shum Hadayonim, meaning that a sixth has a din like more than a sixth. But like Kishum Hadayonim. But it doesn't have like the din of a Shum Hadayonim where they made a mistake in a sixth or more than a sixth. In a sixth. And like if they made a mistake in a sixth. Shum Hadayonim Lishtus, by Kishum Hadayonim Lishtus, like, doesn't have the same din as by when the Dayan made a mistake in a shtus. So he says like this: it doesn't have a din by the sale of karka. Doesn't have the same din as Dayan who made a mistake in a shtus. Dilu hasam by the Dayan who made a mistake in a shtus, batal mekach. The whole mekach is batal and it has to be redone over. V'ilahacha, but by a sada that was of the case of our Mishnah, where a sada that was sold with the simanim, with the landmarks and the boundaries, and it was a shishis less, higigu. We say the sale is a sale, but he has to be yanaka, he has to deduct from the price. Papa's of an Arma Papa bought a karka, this karka from this seller, Amalei, and the Meicha, the seller said to Papa, B'shas HaMechira, Haviyas and Grivi, Masha. He says that this is 20 sa worth, a shetach karka. And it was only 15 sa. Osla Kamed Abaye came before Abaye, Amalei, and Midataina, that he only got 15 sa, and he told him he's selling 20 sa. Abaye says, Savras Vikiblis, you knew how much it was, and you accepted it. So you can't demand anything from the seller. In fact, your mother, Papa Tain, what number we learned in the Mishnah Pas Mishtus, if it was less than the shtus, then the loikeya can't demand anything. He said the sales are sale, but the shtus. But we said till the chsadin is exactly of a shtus. That means, but the shtus itself, yinake, the meiche could deduct from the meiche, meaning the meiche has to deduct from the price of the carcass. So here is more than a shtus that he promised me 20 son, he only gave me 15 son. That's much more than a shtus. So for sure you should have to pay me back, deducting the price. And if you want to, so Abaya answered, when do we say that? This is talking about when the Lokeich didn't know what this karka, how much, he didn't recognize the karka, how much land it has. But over here, where the buyer knew exactly how much was the shetach, and nevertheless he was, even though he said it's 20, he accepted to buy it as is. So he can't demand for anything. That's what Baya answered that Papa. In fact, so Papa asked, he told me 20. Obviously, we both knew it was 15. Obviously, he understood that he has to give me 5 more. I understood that he's going to give me 5 more to be mashlim for the 5 that's missing in this karka. Amalei, no, that's not what the pshat of the meiches thought was, that he was going to be mashlim with 5 more. To him, this sada was as good. This sada of 15 saw was as good as a sada of 20 saw. And he never had a kavanah to be mashlim him, to be mechayiv himself, to be mashlim on the other 5 saw that's missing. Tanya, we learned in the Rabbi Yesi says, brothers that came to divide the Yerusha Api Kiddush Alag Geidol, once the Geidol was chosen by one of them, Lechem to one of them, Karakulam. So both were kind of at that moment when one picked out the Geidol. Or even if there was 3 brothers and one picked out the Geidol for his Chelek, automatically the other 2 were kind of their Chalakim. And the 2, if they didn't, they'll work it out between each other. In fact, you want my time, what's the reason? How could you say all of a sudden Geidol is another form of Kinyan? So Abelazar says, Kitchila, like the beginning of the Chalukah of Eretz Yisrael in the time of Yeshua. Just like Eretz Yisrael was divided Tchila beGeidol at the beginning with a Geidol that Yeshua had made, and the moment that he made the Geidol, everybody was Kaina, even though not everybody took their part of the Geidol. Avkan, so too when the brothers divided the Yerusha, they were Kaina the Chelik beGeidol. In fact, you're learning out from Yeshua. Imalahalan over there by Yeshua, the Chalukah was done. The Kalfa with a special box, and Urim Etumim, that the Urim Etumim lit up the ACS to say who it belonged to. So Afkan, also to over here, the only way it can be kind it should be Kalfa with a special box, Alpi Urim Etumim. And that we don't have that. So how can you say Stam Gadol is going to be a Kinyan? Ravashi answered, it's not just the Gadol itself, he says. There's another element over here. With the Hanod, that each one is maskim, that whatever comes out of the girl, the maskim that to be mavata, whatever chedek he picks that it should belong to him, and the other chedek will belong to himself, and each one was maskim to that. Each one was given bedai to be left shalom to be makna to each other. Where do we see such a form that kaka could be kaina, even not with actually kesef, but with a hana? But we see by kiddush kesef, by kiddushin, we see Aisha could be mekadesh. Normally, she's a man is makadesh a woman with kesef, but a woman could be mekadeshes by the husband. It was a big Talmud Chacham who was ready to accept it. With that hana that he's going to accept it, that's for her considered as receiving something from the man who's being mekadesh. It's like the man is being mekadesh by him accepting it. So you see, the hana is another form of Kinyan, another form of Kinyan like Kesef. Okay, stop over here.